Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for being here and thank you for coming back. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, turn on post notifications, and if you're a returning viewer, thank you for coming back. Your support means a lot to me. So today we're going to be crocheting this granny stitch skirt inspired by the Taylor Swift dress, which is popular right now. The supplies you're going to need are two contrasting yarn colors, a tape, two size hooks, so one the size of the yarn you're working with and one 1mm less the size you're working with. So I'm using a 2.5mm and a 3.5mm, a pair of scissors and a darning needle. So you can make this skirt in using any yarn, but I would recommend either a category 3 or a category 4 yarn and just choose the two hooks that work best with the yarn. In terms of measurements, you're going to need 3 measurements. You're going to need your hip circumference, like your full size of your hip. You're going to need your waist size, and then you're going to need the length from your waist to the floor. The waist should be your upper waist so that your skirt is long enough.
The stitches you're going to use are the double crochet, single crochet, and front post double crochet.
In this pattern, I'm also going to show you how you can hide your tails so you're not weaving in the ends at the end. So we're going to start, but before we start, I'm going to tell you what the sequence of the colors are based on that dress. So the sequence is you have to choose a main color, which will be your color 1, and color 2, your sub color or color 2. So your main color, so this is how it's going to work: 4 of the main color, then 2 of the second color, then 1 of the main color, 1 of second color, 1 of main color, and 1 of second color. So in total, to finish the whole pattern before you restart, you will have 10 rows. So you're basically going to be reworking this until you get the size of your skirt, which will be your hip circumference. Don't go for the waist one because it's not going to fit correctly. Go for the hip measurement. So you're going to work this sequence until you have your full hip measurement. Then we're going to do the ribbing for the waist and finishing the skirt. So to begin, you're going to start with whichever one is your main color. I'm choosing this cream to be my main color, and I'm going to use the 3.5mm hook. So you're going to make a chain in multiples of 4
plus 1.
So I'm going to make a sampler here in multiples of 4. Stitches of my sampler, but this number of stitches should be the length from your waist to the floor. So that's how long your chain is going to be. Don't stretch the chain. Make sure that it's loose, because as you're working, your work kind of like shrinks a little bit. So don't stretch the chain. Make it as long as possible from your waist to the floor. And then in the 4th stitch from the hook, you're going to work a double crochet. This is the foundation row of the granny stitch. Then work a double crochet in the next stitch. You're going to chain 1, skip the next stitch and work 1 double crochet in the next 3 stitches. So 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1, skip the next stitch and work 1 double crochet in the next 3 stitches. Chain 1, skip 1, work 1 double crochet in the next 3 stitches. 2 and 3. Chain 1, skip the next stitch and work 1 double crochet in the last 3 stitches. Chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and turn. Then skip the next 2 stitches and work 3 double crochets in the chain space. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1, skip the 3 stitches and work 3 double crochets in the chain space. Chain 1 and work 3 double crochets in the chain space. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1, skip and work 3 double crochets in the chain space, and 3. Chain 1, and in the last stitch, so 1, 2, at the top of the chain 3 which you started with, you're going to work a double crochet. So that's row 2. So remember our sequence is 4, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1. So we need to work 2 more rows of color 1 before we change. So the next row will be chain 3, turn, and work 2 double crochets in the chain space. Chain 1, skip the cluster of 3 double crochets and work 3 double crochets in the chain space. 2 and 3. Chain 1, work 3 double crochets in the chain space. Chain 1, 3 double crochets in the chain space until you're at the end of the row. Chain 1, and then you see in this last space where we chained 4, you're going to work 3 double crochets. 1, 2, but the third one you're going to work it inside the stitch so that your work is straight at the end. That's row number 3. So row number 4 will be the same as row number 2. So, and now it is also the last row before we change colors. So you're going to chain 1, 2, 3, 4, exactly the same as row number 2. Skip the cluster and work 3 double crochets in the chain space. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1, 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3, chain 1, 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3, chain 1, 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3, and then chain 1, and in the last stitch you're going to work a double crochet. So we're now done with the 4 rows of our main color. So you're going to cut your yarn, just cut enough as if you're going to weave in and make a knot. So to hide this, I don't like just working over it with the stitches, especially with the stitch, because it has gaps and I don't like the yarn to be showing. So what I do is I insert my hook and pull the yarn through the last stitch, and then just through the stitches. Maybe I do this over 2 or 3 clusters. You can do more. The more the better. So when you get to the chain space and you stop where there's a chain space like that, right? So you have actually dealt with your tail, you won't have to weave it in. Then you take your color 2 and go back to where you left off on the corner, insert your hook and pull your yarn through like this, and then tie a knot, a double knot. So 1 and 2. All right, you can leave this for now, and now we're going to work 2 rows of double crochet. So in the same stitch where you've tied the knot at the beginning, you're going to pull your yarn and chain 2, 3, and here we're going to be repeating row 3, okay, which is we work 2 double crochets in the chain space at the beginning to make a 3 double crochet cluster, chain 1, and then work 3 double crochets in each of the chain spaces, and in the last stitch we work 2 in the chain and 1 in the stitch to keep our work even. Because we're working 2 rows now, we're going to chain 2, 3, 4, repeating rows 2 and 3. So since we've done row 3, now it's time to do row 2. But before you do this, you're going to come back to that tail you left, because you needed to make these stitches so this tail has somewhere to rest. And you're going to pull it through your chain first, 1, okay, and then the top of the chain like this, and then just pull it through some of the stitches, maybe 2 or 3 clusters, and then stop where you have a chain space. You always have to stop where there's a chain space so you can work your stitches over it. 3, and now I'm at the chain space and I'm just going to slip stitch my tail in there and stop there. So you always need to stop where there's a chain. And now you have your chains here. Turn and work row 2, which is 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets, chain 1 and work a double crochet in the last stitch. So we've done the 4, we've done the 2. You can cut your yarn and make a knot, and as we did with the other one, you're just going to pull it through those stitches for a couple of clusters. The more you do, the better. Into chain space, and we're going to work over it. And what you do with these tails is you just cut them off when you're done. That's it. So you don't have to weave it in. Then when you work the next round, you're going to work over this and then cut it after. So when you're done with your skirt, you only have to weave in this first tail and the last tail of your work. All right. So now, based on our sequence, we now have to work one row of the main color. And as per usual, we're going to start at the corner, pull your yarn through the stitch and make a double knot. Then we're going to work, since we had worked row 2 in the previous row, so now it's time to work row 3. So to work row 3, you're going to pull your yarn and then chain 3. So row 3 starts with chain 3 and row 2 starts with chain 4. And then work 2, don't carry this yarn, and then work 2 double crochets in the chain space, chain 1 and work 3 double crochets in each of the chain space until the end of the row. Remember, your last stitch on this row, you work it in the stitch so that your work is straight. And because it's only one, we're done with that round and we're going to cut the yarn. And as per usual, you're going to hide this yarn on top of the stitches. And then you're going to go back to where you started and also run this yarn through the chain, the turning chain, and then the stitches. And you can cut this tail. Don't cut the tail of the row until you have worked on top of it. You're going to turn, and now we have to do 1. Remember, it's 4 2 1 1 1 1. Again, you're going to pull your yarn through the last stitch at the top and make a double knot. And we're going to work row 2, which starts with a chain 4. 1 2 3 4, and then skip to the chain space and work your 3 double crochet cluster. At this point, I'm sure you get the gist of things. So it's 4 2 1 1, and then you continue with 1 1 before you start with the 4 again. So I'm going to go and work my sample of 1 1 to just show you the complete sequence before we start. We start at the beginning. So I'm going to go off camera, and you can go work your skirt or your sample if you're just working a sample, or continue working your skirt. So I've already done my full skirt in vertical, as you can see, and this is my sequence. 4 2 1 1 1 1, 4 2 1 1 1 1, and then restart 4 2 1 1 1 1 1 until you have the full size of your hip. And when you're done with your skirt, right, you're going to work the edging. So I'm going to start at the bottom, and what you're going to do is still using your the same hook you used for your body. We're going to work edging around in single crochet. I'm going to use the same yarn, the main color yarn, and I'm just going to work 2 single crochets in each row. This is just for the edging to make sure that your ends look nice and neat. So I'm just going to start same way and make a knot. I really love this method. Make a double knot. And then you're going to work 2 rows of single crochet. So you're gonna pull your yarn through, and then chain 1 and work a single crochet in the same stitch, and another single crochet in the same row. Then work 2 single crochets in the next stitch. Okay, so 1 and 2, and then 2 single crochets in the next stitch. 1 and 2. 2 single crochets in the next stitch, which is literally just the ends of the row, and continue until the end of the row. So this will be the bottom end of your skirt. Do this before you join the skirt so that it's easy to work with. So I'm going to get off camera and just work this edging. I'm now at the end of the row, and I'm just going to do 1 more row of single crochets, just make it a bit more neater. So chain 1 and turn and work a single crochet in the same stitch and single crochet in each of the single crochets. This is just going to make the bottom neater. So now I'm done with my edging. As you can see, looks nice and neat, and this will be my right side now because it looks better than that other side. We're going to now join the skirt, so you're going to turn it to the wrong side and we're going to stitch it. We're going to use a darning needle, a tapestry needle, to stitch. You can stitch as long as you want or as short as you want your slit to be. So now we're going to make the close the skirt on one side, and leave an opening for the slit. So I don't want my slit to be too short, so I'm just gonna leave it at 14 inches. And you do want to leave a stitch marker where you want to stop, so you're not guessing. So this is where I'm going to stop, and I'm just going to place a stitch marker. A tapestry needle, just use the mattress stitch to close from the top to where you have your stitch marker. And this is how I did it. Insert your, you can also use other methods of joining, but for me personally, this is what I'm going to use because I think it will look neater. And you're just going to be stitching back and forth between the two sides. So through both loops to the front, and then through both loops to the back. Remember, you have the same number of stitches on both sides, so just follow the stitches so that your joint is not skewed. I'm going to finish this, and then we're going to come back and work the ribbing. So I've now joined the skirt with my split, see on this side, and I'm going to turn it to the right side like that. And now we're going to work the waist. Because we've worked the size of the hip, your waist is going to be larger, and I'm going to show you how to make it smaller. This is why we have a smaller hook. So I'm going to start with my smaller hook. I'm changing to a 2.5 millimeter, and I'm going to join my yarn at the seam where I stitched my skirt. And the first thing we're going to do is the exact same thing we did at the edging at the bottom. We're going to work a round of single crochets. So you're going to start with a chain one, pull your yarn, and then chain one, and work a single crochet in the same stitch. And then work 2 single crochets in each of the stitches, which are your rows. In this case, you can actually carry your yarn because it's a single crochet, it's going to hide it nicely. So work 2 single crochets in each stitch, which is essentially your rows all round. I'm now at the end of the row, and I'm going to slip stitch into the first single crochet and then chain one and work a double crochet in the same stitch. Then we're going to be decreasing every second stitch. So in the next 2 stitches, we're going to decrease, which is yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through 2. You have 2 loops on the hook, and then go into the next stitch, yarn over, insert your hook in the next stitch, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through 2. You're going to have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 3. Then in the next stitch we're going to work a double crochet, just one normal double crochet, and then in the next 2 stitches we're going to decrease in the same way. So yarn over, insert your hook, pull through, yarn over and pull through 2 loops on the hook, into the next stitch, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through 2, and then yarn over and pull through 3. And then in the next stitch you're going to work a double crochet and then decrease again. So you're alternating a double crochet and a double crochet decrease. So continue until the end of the row. So I'm now at the end of the round, and you're going to slip stitch into that first double crochet you made, chain 1, and work a double crochet in the same stitch. Then work a double crochet in the next stitch, and then work a front post double crochet in the next stitch. So yarn over, insert your hook behind the post, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. In the next stitch, which is the decrease, work a double crochet, and in the next stitch work a front post double crochet, and continue alternating the double crochet and the front post double crochet until the end of the round. And I'm going to see you at the end of the round. I'm now at the end of the row, and I'm going to slip stitch at the top of the first double crochet I made, and from here on we're just going to repeat this row. So chain 1, work a double crochet in the same stitch, and then where you worked a double crochet, work a double crochet, and then work a front post double crochet where you worked a front post stitch. In the next stitch work a double crochet, and then work a front post double crochet in the next stitch. In the next stitch work a double crochet, then a front post double crochet in the next stitch.
And from here you're going to continue with this row until you have 5 rows of ribbing in total, and then you're done. To finish off, you're going to make either a drawstring or add elastic to your waist. I'm going to show you both methods next.
So now I'm done with my ribbing, but it's still going to be a little bit loose. It can fit, but it's still going to be a little bit loose. So what I want to do is to make it tight. And there are two ways you can do this. The first way is to make a cord, to make a drawstring, which is just a chain. So you're going to make a slip knot and make a chain to double the size of your waist. So that's what I'll do. I'm just going to make a sample here because this is not the method I'm going to go for. I'm actually going to add elastic because I think that will make my skirt sit better. So you make a chain, leaving a tail, and once you're done with your chain, you're going to thread a needle and then just run it through the third row of your ribbing. So you can start at the center because this will be the side. Start at the center of your skirt. You have to identify the center and then just run the cord through the ribbing like that and continue until the end of the row. This is a very popular method that everyone uses, but this is not what I'm going to do. I am going to add elastic, which I think is going to work well. So I have this elastic which I purchased from a yarn store. So this is your elastic. It's always better to get the color that matches your outfit, but it's very rare to find that these other colors. It's usually white or black, at least where I am. So I'm going to find my seam, which is this one. So here's the joint. I've joined my yarn, and then I'm going to crochet this elastic under the last row, and I'll tie this at the end just to make sure that it's tight. So what you do is you place your yarn, you place your elastic on the wrong side, but you're working on the right side, but you place your elastic on the wrong side, and then you're going to pull just a little bit nice tail, and you're going to pull the yarn through both the elastic and the stitch, and then chain one. Then you're going to single crochet in the same stitch, crocheting over the elastic and the stitch. As you can see, leave that tail there. We'll get it when we're done. And then single crochet in each stitch, crocheting over the elastic the way you would crochet if in your tails. So single crochet over the elastic and the stitch all around until the end of the row, and I'll see you at the end of the row. When you get to the end of the row, leave 10 stitches, which we're going to work over. So I will see you at the end of the row. And now I have a few stitches left, like I have 5. You can do it at 10, you can do it at 5, but what you want to do is you want to just make a knot here. So you're going to cut your elastic, right? And then you're going to make a double knot. And then finish it off, double knot. And you want to work over these elastic. You can actually, these tails, so they're hidden. That's why you leave a few stitches at the end. So make sure when you're working the very last stitches, you're working over all the tails and the elastic. So just continue to finish. And then slip stitch, leave the tails and then slip stitch at the top of the first single crochet that you made. And you can cut your yarn and weave it in. You're probably going to have like some of the tails popping out. Just cut them off so they are completely hidden. And you're done.
Now you're done and your skirt is ready to be worn. And if you want to check out some of my other videos, go click on the link on the screen and don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. Thank you for watching.